Hello and welcome. Just want you guys to know that there's a great big beautiful tomorrow
shining at the end of every day. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a dream away.
Today we're going to talk about Tomorrowland.
You wanted to see Tomorrowland. Here it comes.
Tomorrowland was released in 2015 and oh, it's so extremely underrated. I always wanted to see it in theaters, I never got to, so this was my first time I finally got to sit down and watch it, and I was blown away. It is so underrated. I feel like they didn't advertise it correctly, and I did get to see the first couple of minutes when I went to Disney on vacation. They did have the preview, and it looked really cool then, but it just is amazing. I am a huge fan of this film. We have a really great cast. George Clooney stars in it, as well as Tim McGraw.
I'll play Eddie Newton. He's a NASA engineer. He's been involved in building the space program, and now he's involved in having to sort of dismantle the space program.
I did not know that was Tim McGraw, as well as Hugh Laurie, who I adore, and Britt Robertson is also starring in it as well. They start the movie out by breaking the fourth wall, and we learn about Frank Walker's past. He gets to go to the World's Fair, and it's really, really cool how they showed the World's Fair in 1964 and how they recreated It's a Small World, and they have It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow in the background, which also was at the World's Fair, and it's just so cool, and I wish I could have gone.
See you at the fair, and remember,
there's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Because we don't have anything like that anymore. I mean, Disney does do close to it, but it was still amazing that they had this, and so it's a really cool homage and a great way to start this film out. Frank ends up meeting this robot, Athena, who helps him and teaches him about Tomorrowland. She gives him a pin to show off how amazing Tomorrowland can be, in hopes to keep the dreamers alive and to make it reality.
When I touched this pen, I saw this place.
The pin was really cool because they did it on purpose as a homage to pin trading, and even though you can't see it because it's above me, I have a lot of pins myself, and I am a very avid pin trader, so now I need to find that pin and add it to my collection. It does take place in Florida, over by Cape Canaveral, and once we learn Frank's backstory, then it goes in present day, and then we get to know Casey, and she gets dragged into Tomorrowland, and then she ends up going on a journey to hunt down this pin, because when she touches it, she instantly transports into Tomorrowland and then gets back into reality. And so she ends up going on a journey. It leads her to Texas, where she goes to this Blast from the Past store, and they turn out to be robots. But also, on the DVD, this store is amazing as it is already. Super geeky, super nerdy, but I love it. And then they have a feature on the DVD that they have their own commercial for this.
Houston, we have a problem with high prices.
Come on down to Blast from the Past Apocalypse Day Sale.
If you have any needs in the sci-fi category, come to Blast from the Past.
Our store is dynamite. The deals are explosive. This sale is apocalyptic.
We have video games, aliens, we've got knickknacks, we've got gooter dads, and of course, zombie heads on meat hooks.
Come down here and buy everything you can at Blast from the Past. We're on Highway 61, right down from Larry's gas station.
Best thing ever. This makes it so much greater, and I honestly thought this was the best scene, even though it wasn't even the movie. It was an amazing featurette, so honestly, favorite moment that I had. It was so fun. So Athena tracks Casey down, and they end up going over to track down Frank Walker, and he helps them get back into Tomorrowland, and they have to fix what was damaged. And this is a really great underlining message that I adore about this film. Back in the 60s, everyone had this future is going to be fantastic, everyone's going to be like the Jetsons and flying cars, and even Tomorrowland and Disneyland shows that it was a future, but it was really bright and bold. Today, everyone thinks the future is terrible, everything is dystopia, and we're all gonna die, and everything's crashing and burning, and it's really true mindset that everyone has, and this movie talks about a lot, and I really admire this message, that even in the beginning all the teachers are talking about 1984 and how Big Brother is watching and how global warming is killing us all and climate change, and it's so relatable and modern to society's mindset today, and it's really awesome that this movie acknowledges this.
To save civilization, I would show its collapse. But how do you think this vision was received? How do you think people responded to the prospect of imminent doom? They gobbled it up like a chocolate eclair. They didn't fear their demise, they repackaged it. It can be enjoyed as video games, as TV shows, books, movies. The entire world wholeheartedly embraced the apocalypse and sprinted towards it with gleeful abandon.
But also tells you you can fix this, and that you need to stay positive, and you need to work on fixing it, so that way we don't end up in dystopia. Because they say that people don't acknowledge it and they don't do anything about it, and we're just gonna head it, but we can change. And so it's just such a brilliant message, and it's so powerful, and I really, really admire this film for it, and this is honestly one of the best films I've seen, and definitely one of my new favorites. There are some creepy moments in it too. We have the creepiest robots that literally just like smile when they want to kill you, and honestly that's a fear of mine. They don't go by robots, they go by audio animatronics, which is a really cool nod back to Walt Disney himself. It has so much heart in the script and the screenplay, and there's so many little subtle themes that relate back to Walt Disney and Tomorrowland. Because this was also the first film that's based on a land that Disney did. We've had so many movies based on attractions already. It's one attraction only. This is a land, and this has not been done before, and it didn't do well in the box office, but it's so underrated, and I hopes that it will start getting more notice throughout the years, and they can do some other films, because that would be honestly really cool. I would love to see a Frontierland film as well as a Fantasyland would be really cool. I don't know if they could do every single land. Tomorrowland really works because it's all about the future and no one knows. But I think it'd be cool to branch off and do some things that are unique alongside to this. That's a wrap for our specific Disney action films. We have a couple more films to talk about that are still owned under Disney or 20th Century Fox before we wrap up this month. And tomorrow we're going to talk about The Kingsman. So you can stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.